Welcome everyone to the very first episode of People Matters. I'm Gunjan Aggarwal. I'm Chief People Officer at RingCentral. Matters is a monthly forum where we talk about important issues facing people in the workforce, topics such as diversity and inclusion, workplace culture, and employee happiness. As you know, we just wrapped up the Women's History Month and International Women's Day. So today we are focusing on strategies for women and their career in this work from anywhere world. Joining me today are two great Ring Central allies for women in the workforce. So let's break the ice and have them introduce themselves, their role, and their favorite pandemic snack food. I'm going to start with you, David.
Hi, everyone. My name is David Lee. I'm the VP of Platform Products at RingCentral. I've worked here for 7 years, and it's been a very exciting and challenging and fun time here. But to answer your last question about my favorite pandemic food, there's so many. I actually picked up some cooking skills during the pandemic, so that's been a lot of fun. But I think my favorite is probably my family has a new ritual now. Every Friday evening, we get together and we eat pizza and watch a movie. So I think I'll say that's my favorite pandemic food.
Thank you, Gunjan, for having me today. I am the Associate Vice President of our SMB expansion team, focused on driving expansion and retention efforts across our small and medium businesses. I've been at RingCentral for just shy of 10 years. So David's been here a long time. I've been here a little bit longer. But like David, I've also picked up some cooking during COVID, spending some more time in the kitchen. I actually have something in the oven right now. So for us, it's like snacks is whatever we're cooking that day.
And just to close the loop on the pandemic snack, I have actually also tried my hand at cooking, but it's been so torturous for my family that I have now really retraced my steps back from there. In terms of snacks, yeah, at times we do popcorn, which seems to be pretty popular with our folks at home now. So let me ask the first question. Let me ask you, Jenny, the first question. The pandemic has ushered in remote work, or what we call work from anywhere, for lots of people across the globe. Now, most of the people at RingCentral are anyways in work from anywhere mode. But how do you think this recent past year has impacted careers of women in your teams?
It's a great question because I think that the pandemic has a lot of silver linings. On the one hand, it's given us a proof of concept that shows us that we can truly be productive from anywhere. And I've seen a lot of women on my team, especially the ones that are not at home with their children, taking risks that maybe they wouldn't have before. They're moving to the mountains for the winter and they're working and then they're skiing. And then people that are at home with their children, like me, for example, I've gotten the opportunity to spend a lot more time with my young children. And my daughter, who was just 5 months when the pandemic started, I've really gotten to observe her grow. Professionally, though, I see the biggest opportunity in that we're no longer confined by this idea of geographic bias. And previously, I think maybe if you weren't physically in the room, you were at a disadvantage. Well, now nobody's in the room. Everybody's kind of in this virtual room. And I've had the opportunity, and people on my team, especially women, have had the opportunity to collaborate more with folks that maybe traditionally they wouldn't have had the opportunity without this pandemic.
David, how have you seen the career of women being impacted in a positive or negative way in your team?
Yeah, I definitely have seen both positive and negative impacts on the women in my team. You know, everyone is seeing this blurring of the line between work and family life, right? In a very physical manner. Before you had this physical separation of going to the office and that transition time allowing you to kind of get into work mode. And of course, you have the physical separation from family. But now, because of that blurring line, it's both a positive thing because I've heard from many of my team members that they feel closer to their families. But at the same time, when they need to focus on work, because women are still seen as the primary caretaker for their families, for most families, they have to really set a very strict kind of separation, right, to make sure they can concentrate on work during those critical times. So from that perspective, women may, I think, have experienced more challenge in terms of making things work at home. But also, I've heard at least one interesting comment that just sort of removing that commute time, right? So you don't have to spend so much time on the road. Actually, has given many of them more time to reflect on their own career. So I've talked to many of them who, because they've had that more time to think about where their work life is going, they are able to sit down with me and have these career growth and development conversations that they felt they actually wouldn't have had that opportunity before because they're just so busy every day with everything else.
Jenny, from your perspective, getting to spend more time with your infant child, and David, from your perspective, saving in terms of the commute and really thinking about career and what the career growth may look like in the future, I think those are some really positives. Now, building up on the positives, what are some things that you think Ring Central has gotten right in terms of providing support to women in the workplace? And I will come to the things that we still need to do as well, which we probably didn't get right in the first time. But Jenny, maybe we start with you. What are some of the things that you think we have done well?
So recently, we've had a big shift in focus in making sure that executive leadership is acknowledging advancement for women at RingCentral. We're looking at how we're staffed, making sure there's diversity in our workforce. We've got some really amazing benefits, parental leave, for example, a lot of safe spaces where women and allies of women in leadership can come together and celebrate one another, celebrate each other's successes. So it feels like we're starting to have more and more emphasis on creating women empowerment across the business. And I'll tell you, I was the first woman in our Denver office. And I remember that moment where I think actually even my hiring manager at the time had said to me, like, just an FYI, you're going to be the only woman here. And at the time I saw that as an opportunity. And now what's so cool is I'm starting to see more and more women be in kind of male dominated parts of the business. And I know on my team in particular, we joke that the men are actually the minority. So really exciting to see more emphasis on this. And I personally am just really passionate about seeing more advancement for women across the business.
And David, from your perspective, what are some of the things you think we've done right?
Yeah, so I actually posed that question to the women on my team, and I think the first thing they brought up is, look, just having a understanding management really helps with all this, right? We're all going through challenging times, and most of them feel that RingCentral does have this woman centric setup that really helps them, and that you can see some of that expressed in, for example, the Sassy Women's Group, some of the women leadership webinars that we put together, right? And very recently, the mentorship program that's getting built up. So those may seem like small things, but the females on my team really appreciate that level of support.
That's so good to hear because we, of course, in the people function have been trying to support some of these as well. But I feel so glad to hear that your team, women in your team, are finding it very useful. So, if we continue to talk about this, what could be some other things that we could do to provide more support to women in our organization?
Yeah, again, there I definitely sense a lot of appreciation for those programs targeted at women. They feel that just being able to share their perspectives, hearing from each other, and one of them tell me, just being able to celebrate each other has been super important. What they would like to see, though, is basically more of the same. So, for example, there's been a suggestion about role models, right? Obviously, role models is very important to anyone, including women. And they definitely appreciate the fact there are many senior leaders at RingCentral that are women. They want to be able to see and observe what they do day to day more. So there's a suggestion about sort of a shadow and executive program for women that I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I also asked the women on my team, and something that came up at first, it was around subsidizing childcare. But then as we dug a little bit deeper, we realized that not all women have children, and that's obviously totally fine. And so having some sort of stipend that could be used towards childcare or used towards doing things for yourself, like going to get a massage or going to the gym, just something to help promote emotional mental health, beyond, of course, we have a ton of resources already, would really be something the team would value. Uh, in particular, again, I've got two young kids. I know that one of the things I try and do at least once a week is just get a couple hours away with a babysitter. I can't always put that on my husband, and he's got a full time job as well. So having just some relief in the form of some childcare would really help a lot of our working moms. But as we think about the future of work from anywhere in particular and how it's going to impact women, I think one of the things we have to do is let women define what their boundaries are within the context of whatever the particular work from anywhere or work from home framework is, and make sure that we celebrate and support that. One thing that I think could potentially be a risk as we move back into a hybrid environment is the option for people to go to the office and then potentially women having guilt for not going into the office. And so setting some really strong cultural foundations that let people feel really confident with their decision to go in, stay home, travel, whatever it is, as long as they're productive and they're delivering. So that's something that I think we're going to see a lot more from other companies, and I'd love to see RingCentral continue to reinforce as well.
David, do you have any thoughts there?
Yeah, I'm actually hearing some of the same proposals from my team, right? And it's about as we transition back to a hybrid workplace, many folks, many women on my team, especially those who live far away, right, really want to retain some of the benefits of being able to work mostly from home. But I think they worry about, okay, am I going to see the same level of transparency and communication depth with management, with my peers, and very importantly, the opportunity to be recognized and to be to share and celebrate their accomplishments, right, as they would if they were in the office. So they asked me quite a bit about, okay, in that hybrid world, what are some of the process and tools that's going to be in place to make sure it happens equally for folks who choose to go back to office versus those who choose to stay at home more.
Yes, and that's such an important point. So, how about we just spend a few minutes on that topic? We've been really trying to work on our end between the people function and facilities to think about what this hybrid world would look like and how do we ensure that there is inclusion for people who may not be there in the office right that moment. And also there is engagement for everyone in the organization, and that we don't lose in the trade-offs, we don't lose some of the positives, right? Which, for example, David, you talked about people spending more time at home, or Jenny, like you said, being more with the kids. So what do you think, from your perspective, what could be one or two things that we could think of as we open up the workplace again?
For me, the beauty is that we have a platform that enables us to do this, and it's the best technology we could ask for. I know personally my team is all over the world, and so even if I go to an office or my whole team locally here in Denver goes to an office, I still am always going to have a part of my team or internal partners, and of course customers that aren't physically going to be in the room. And so a best practice is just to continue to leverage our technology to do what we built it to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the same perspective here, right? When last March, when we were all told to go home and figure things out, right? I think as with any group of smart and resourceful people, we all figure out how to do it. I can tell you, working in an innovation team, one of the fears we had was that everyone working from home may directly impact and slow down our very rapid innovation cycle and release schedule. Well, that didn't happen because we all figured out how to work together separately. So those tools need to be maintained. My team, for example, we realized that some of the social aspects and some of the hallway conversation type of benefits of working in the office is not there anymore. So we set up nearly daily morning meetings. I think we call it coffee time, right? And you don't have to go, but everyone's encouraged to drop by, and you don't have to even talk about work, right? Sort of just to kind of ease into the day. But often interesting conversations do come up. Also we replaced our normal after work happy hour with virtual happy hours at least once every other week. I think many of those need to be maintained because some folks will be offsite and they won't be able to participate in the traditional way of doing things.
That's very helpful. So we are doing focus groups and gathering some of this feedback as well. I really like the fact that you have taken up these practices like coffee hour. I think that's something that we could potentially look to institutionalize when there is a hybrid workplace and we have a lot of remote people as well. The other thing that I heard a lot was the food in Belmont, which people miss. So it's almost like some of them said, well, I love the fact that I don't have to battle with the daily commute, but I would really miss not having that food in the Belmont office. So I think we'll have to figure out some ways to kind of keep that fun element while allowing people to make the most of this new way of working. Is there anything in terms of last words that you would like to share that you wish from your perspective that we could continue to build on as we bring more gender diversity into our workplace?
I'm just proud that we're having this conversation and we encourage people to lean into this conversation. I know that the women on my team got together in advance of this call to talk through some of these topics, and it's just a really refreshing place to be, knowing that we have critical mass and we can support this level of dialogue. And also know that we have just so much support with the rest of the business. I never once felt like I was treated differently because I was a woman, or I was given different opportunities because I was a woman. And I love the fact that we can just empower people to do good work here and continue to reinforce the idea of creating diverse ideas and experience to continue to deliver world-class experience to our customers.
I would say, RingCentral has done a good job fostering female careers and leadership. We need to continue to listen more, and if anything, increase that level of engagement. Actually, when you guys invited me to this whole conversation, I took the opportunity to have a lot of conversations. Honestly, I'll be frank, I probably normally wouldn't have reached out to just the females on my team to ask for their thoughts and opinions. But when I did that, I learned a lot myself. And I think all of us as leaders, doesn't matter if we're a man or a woman, we need to do that because there are unique challenges that face the female members of the team. So I think we need to continue to listen. We need to continue to absorb that feedback and institute programs and process, do more of what you guys have been doing with all that really powerful messages and good proposals from those members of our team.
The two things I wanted to share from my perspective are, one, the product itself. As you know, I'm new to RingCentral. I haven't been here for a very long time. I just came here 5 months ago. And for me, as a busy working mom, this application, the RingCentral platform itself is phenomenal. It helps me stay organized, be productive, have my communication, collaboration, meetings, everything in one place. So for me, it has really made a big difference in being more productive and organized. So I continue to encourage our rest of our organization to keep building even better features as we move forward. And for the other part, David and Jenny, thank you so much for your time and contributing to this really important topic. I look forward to seeing you maybe in person in the very near future as we continue to evolve working from anywhere. And to all our listeners, thank you for coming in and listening to this conversation. And stay tuned. We'll continue to talk about these topics as they evolve in the work from anywhere scenario.